every religious preceptor of Odisha as well as India has some speciality, and each of them has made some specific contribution towards the Hindu religious thought. The uniqueness of a country creates its distinctiveness with its language, culture, and literary traditions. Admittedly, Odisha from time immemorial has specialized itself in the science of the soul in terms of the Brahmanda Tattva. There is a conglomeration of many religious ideologies with a different thought, but they all coexist harmoniously. However, every religious thought has accepted in principle the love, tolerance, compassion, and respect for their heterogeneous practices. The Hindu suggestion, sheer Sabbath declared in Vedas, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, truth is one, but wise people describe the same thing in different ways, just as rivers are many, but all of them run to meet and great devotion. There are differences in views, and the parts are many, but the goal of all the religious thinkers is one, to realize the supreme reality of Paramatma, the Almighty. Sant Abhiram Paramahansa was a mystic poet, preceptor, philosopher, and a distinguished spiritual teacher of the 20th century. He was not only a spiritual teacher, but also dedicated and daring social reformer of the pre-independent India. Sri Thakur Paramahansa is giving his messages of human values through poems rich in musical tunes, dealing with a high spiritual intensity and philosophical ideologies full of human values. His style of composition and the use of colloquial language well suited for vocal music tunes inspire all sections of the people in the society. One who is well acquainted with the Indian philosophical system, particularly Vedanti, Yoganti, Siddhanta, and the later the Vaishnavic thought, was able to interpret the vocabulary of his rare works and comprehend that hidden philosophy. His poetic exchanges of mystic utterance are profusely scattered throughout his body of work. To have a brief account of a religious and philosophical tradition prevalent in Odisha practices in Thakur, we have to delve into the background of his philosophy. Attempts have been made to correlate the different conceptions. The spiritual view of author Paramahansa is of the view that the absolute is the ultimate reality which overcomes all sorts of duality and dubiousness. Reality is Advaita, the conception of the Jiva, individual, and Jagat, the cosmos, are described in various contexts in his literature works, reveal the process of evolution, the relation between the individual body and the cosmic body, or the relation between the divided soul and the divine. He gives emphasis on the practice of yoga or sadhana for the realization of the supreme reality through jnana, karma, and bhakti yoga. Kali Bhagavat, the most distinctive work of Sri Thakur Abhiram Paramahansa, is Kali Bhagavata and Advaita, the non-dual aspect of the whole universe as one and evolved from God. This evolution process is apparent or inevitable, thus according to the higher psychological generalization, the conceptions like Laya, Lila, Saguna, Niguna, Sansara, Paramartha, Prakriti, Purusha, and Prabhuti Nibati are realized as the perfect substitute for those who attain the self-realization. The inmost divine soul acts as the software of the spiritual self of the human soul. The human soul is to realize the body-mind complex as one, considering the cosmos as the visible expression of the one invisible, the non-dual facet of the one unknown, or the supreme reality that can be assessed through the divine soul within. The human life is the gift of God, and every moment is an opportunity open to man to realize the presence of the divine soul at the core within. The human soul is an integral part of the infinite energy, the supreme reality. The human soul or Jivatma is under the control of the body-mind complex, procreating elusive nature in the ordinary human, constantly sinking him to an abysmal low. When one forgets himself as the doer and the experiencer, he realizes the supreme reality and becomes the recipient of the grace or bliss of the divine soul. We discover everything that we have is a gift or grace of the divine soul. Dehaku Bhagavata Pahi Vasiyachanti Bhavagrahi. In Kali Bhagavata, he emphasized the human body is a bond of truth. Unless one grasps this truth, which is the secret of the secrets, the goal of life remains unachieved. An enlightened self considers the body-mind complex and the soul within are one. More precisely, this adhaka or elevated soul realizes oneness of different human beings and everybody as the visible expression of the one invisible, the supreme reality. The human life is a gift and every moment is an opportunity for us to realize the presence of the Supreme Soul in the whole of the creation of the Jagat or universe. We discover we should be grateful to God that we live in this beautiful world and have the opportunity to become a loving and a living ritual in our daily life. We discover everything that we have is the grace of the divine. The real charity is to serve the divine in the fellow men as we are the integration of different bodies harboring the same supreme soul. So the pinda as the human body and the worldly phenomena inside the human body was the topic of discussion. Most likely it is to glorify the human body as the fit place of worship and to realize its worth and ostentatious purpose. But when one realizes the Viveka Purusha, the divine soul within, it acts as the conductor of the positive and the negative qualities lying in the fontanel, and one will get success in life. So we spend every moment with the realization of the self and being aware of the fact that the humanity is the integration of the different bodies of the Supreme Soul, Paramatma. Surrender for the divine soul as our body and the mind are used by the Lord as his instrumental cause. Seek refuge in him alone with the heart and soul. Solicit his grace to enjoy the all-interrupted eternal peace and the heavenly abode. In Angadi Bhakta Sri Thakur have declared, Sri Thakur has described the conversation between Jnana-Siddha Naradi and a devotional self-surrender gopis with unique philosophical explanation and wise expression. The elusive knowledge or jnana of Narad will disappear and is replaced by the ignition of the intellect that the gopi are really the Angadi Bhakta of the Lord. The spiritual truth is the self-realization or pure consciousness which is beyond body and mind, had been experienced by the gopis with different bodies, but were the integral part of the Supreme Soul, the life in all the living beings and a living soul within. Watch constantly how fast the time is passing with no pause. Waste time with none but God, the Supreme Soul who adorns the heart of every human being. Human intellect, mind, body and nature are controlled by the Supreme Soul, the creator of this vast universe. One has to read the book of one's life with the help of the divine creation around us, what we gaze at every moment. The Vedas declare that I am not the body, I am the spirit living in all human body. This unknown spirit and unseen power are the cause of creation of the universe can be realized in each and every fellow man. Ekadasi Tattva Sansara Ekotto Manila Ekadasi Hela, one who loves everyone as one's own self, God as the creator of this universe, and we all being the integral part of the infinite energy, the Supreme Soul is said to be known as Ekadasi Tattva. Sanatana Gita, Sanatana Dharma contains the basic principles of life that preserves the mundane world, embracing all, whereas the different religions emanate from it only as the branches, knowledge and work, are the real values to lead the human soul on the religious path. In Vaishnava Gita, Sri Thakur have described in the Vaishnava Gita that a Vaishnava can realize the Supreme Being in all the creation of the world. A Vaishnava surrenders before the Supreme, forgetting the body-mind complex, and realize that human soul is the integral part of the one infinite energy, the Supreme Soul or Paramatma. In Chautisa Manjusa, Sri Thakur describes Chautisa Manjusa the relation of the soul, when the human soul realizes that Jiva is the integral part of the Parama or the Supreme Soul, only then he can realize the four Vedas relating to truth, peace, pity and forgiveness are the grace of the Supreme Energy or Paramatma. In Yoga Tattva, Yoga Shastra Patanjali described that when the waves of the mind flow on the breathing of the Chitta are suppressed and eventually annihilated, the knower unveils his existence naturally and spontaneously and begins to manifest the Pinda, human soul, purged of all worldly sins and attachments. Love God with all your heart, since He exists in your heart, grace blossoms for you. In Avadhuta Gita, Sri Thakur Avila Sundara described a beautiful comparison with Avadhut and well-balanced Grihastha life in Avadhuta Gita. And Avadhuta always remains overwhelmed with self-surrender, devotional love of the Supreme, forgetting body-mind complex, the Dvaita and Advaita. A realized soul carries no further aspiration and being self-satisfied spends a wandering life. Whatever is upheld, one has to accept it as the grace or bliss of the divine. He sought for a perfect Grihastha as the true substitute whose life is being associated with the good qualities of firmness and patience like the father, forgiveness like the mother, calmness and gentleness like housewife, truthfulness like the son, compassion like the sister, and controlled mind like the brother. Being associated with all these five qualities of a perfect man is able to preserve the human body and is no way less than an Avadhuta. In Sanatana Dharmartha Gita, Koili Shikha, Sri Thakur Arvind Sundar has appealed the human being to learn the ethical messages given by the black Indian Kako, the crow, the elusive nature, a tiny creation of the Supreme. All should follow the basic principles of Sanatana Dharma, encompassing all religious traditions, as they are the branches spread out from the same stump of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma accepts all sections of a people, irrespective of caste, creed and sect, though we are all the creation of the one, the Supreme Being Paramatma. He has taught through the black Indian Kako that man should give up the demonic character and realize the Supreme Divinity. All living people, the animals, endowed with the power to reason. He has accepted the black Indian Kako as an ideal, through which he has expressed his views of Sanatana Dharma, that the human body is the fit place of worship. The religious path is the only shelter for liberation, application of conscience in all aspects of life, and knowing the character of three gunas and their impacts, receiving the blessing of a Sadguru, the preceptor, relation of a Nama, the cosmic sound of the divine mother through Anahanada, realization of the presence of a God within is possible by knowing the effects of a Prakriti and a Nibhuti, the realization of the becoming and non-becoming as one, body and a universe, the self-surrender devotion and divinity, conscience as the only Purusha, the giver of blessings, the dedication of the crow and the skillful act of the black Indian Kaku, the realization of a Jnana and a Bhakti Yoga as one, the Sahaj Sutra for the realization of the Supreme Being, the realization of a Jiva Paramalila have been skillfully described as the mirror of life through which the human being can realize the Supreme reality to get liberation. The Supreme Being can demolish the demonic character, uniting the 18 assisting aids as Ashtasakhi, 5 sense organs, 3 gunas, and Jiva and Parama as his armors play for creation. One needs to seek his blessing, realize his presence in all the creation of the world, and be liberated. Seek your soul within, meditate upon, and realize your own self in other creation. Then only you will be your friend and guide, which will lead you to liberation, self-realization. Sri Sri Thakur has described the idealistic character of the devotee as a truth, peace, pity, forgiveness, intelligence, knowledge, consciousness, free from desire and passion. These 18 noble qualities are expressed as Ashtasakhi, which are surrounded by Narahari, the Supreme Soul. The human soul possessing these 8 noble qualities or accepting these Ashtasakhi as assisting aid can experience self-realization with the help of the pure consciousness called as Hetu. When one surrenders before the Supreme Soul, then he will be free from the worldly passion, ignorance, and illusive Maya, and feel that the human souls constitute the integration of a different body to be conceived as one indivisible power of the Absolute Brahma. Conclusion: Sri Sri Thakur Abhiram Paramahansa has expressed human values gained out of his own experience, spiritual life, parental life, society, co-workers and devotees. Though he at the outset spent a half-hour life, he later, with the grace of Mother Paurnamasi, managed to surpass all obstacles and succeeded in achieving his lofty goal of attaining the metaphysical state. He has justifiably explained the ethical aspect and the human values in the philosophy of life throughout his literary works in colloquial language to allure the readers cutting across the society. One who learns the essence and practices the ideals will indisputably inculcate human values. As a result, the devotee is enlightened and blessed to be immune to negative thoughts and is focused to pursue the right vision, right enjoyment, and right action in every walk of life. A true devotee forgets themselves as the doer and experiencer of an action. Only then can realize the supreme reality. They get dressed in the source of a grace or a bliss of the divine soul. It is the wisdom of a devotee to seek refuge in him alone, heart and soul, and solicit his grace for enjoying the eternal peace and the heavenly abode even in the mortal world. Thank you all.